Hello everyone, this is the Oneromancer, and today I bring you another video on unintended morals. But as you can read in the title, I do have a couple guests this time.
Hello, I'm Whammy.
Hello there, this is the EverFreePony.
Alright, now, what we each did was that we picked two morals, and they could have been on two different kinds of subjects. The first thing is an unintended moral with a negative implication or negative message, or it could have been a silly or useless moral. Because of that, and because of the subjectivity of how one interprets episodes, morals, etc., take this with a heavy grain of salt.
Alright then, you must be wondering what I think the most useless lesson in MOP is, but instead, I'll let Applejack tell you.
I didn't learn anything. I was right all along.
So let me get this straight. You didn't learn anything, but you sent a letter anyways, just to let her know that. God, it's like my education all over again, except the fact that it isn't done, and this is probably what it's gonna be. But let's be fair. If you search deep enough in this useless moral, you can pull something away. Don't be a jerk to people you want to make money with. Yay! We learned something! But I do take some delicious irony away from this. The troll is finally trolled.
At number 5 in our list of unintended morals, we got the episode Swarm of the Century. Bear sprites have basically eaten the town, but Pinkie Pie comes to save the day with her musical instruments, and we all get a nice lesson listening to your friends even when they don't make sense. Which isn't a bad lesson in of itself. Listening to your friends and getting multiple perspectives is a good way to seek out solutions for your problems. The way this episode handled it, however, not so much. At no point does Pinkie Pie ever actually tell her friends she has the solution to the problem at hand. Sure, she shows disgust towards the pair of sprites, makes her wish for musical instruments well known, and is obviously frustrated by the lack of cooperation from her friends, but well, what do you expect? They're busy rounding up the pair sprites and making tornadoes while you're rambling on about maracas and cymbals. As far as they are concerned, Pinkie Pie is just being random and in the way of the more important issue at hand. To quote Adam Smith, "We are afraid to follow the man who is going we do not know where. The great pleasure of conversation and society, besides, arise from a certain correspondence of sentiments and opinion, from a certain harmony of minds, which, like so many musical instruments, coincide and keep time with one another." But based on the events of this episode, listening to your friends means drop absolutely everything you are doing and follow your friends, even if they are making absolutely no sense. They have no responsibility to explain a thing.
Okay, at number 4, we have pretty much every Cutie Mark Crusader episode when it talks about getting a Cutie Mark. The alternate, kind of useless, and possibly lawsuit-inducing moral, if you choose to follow it, is, when you're younger, it is imperative that you get a tramp stamp, and that it must represent something important to you. Another way to look at this moral is, you can always know the deepest, most important things about someone by looking at their ass. That's the lawsuit part.
Now to the lesson that I found to be so poorly done in its execution. That is the one episode of MOP that I just cannot sit through. Its name is Spike at Your Service, and its moral, well, it basically tells you not to be a stalker, which was good, but it was just so poorly done. They introduced a vague code for dragon culture, which they must live by. Funny how Spike never mentioned this any time else in the series, except for when it became, convenient for the writers. I mean, how many other times has he been saved by all the other ponies? Not to mention he becomes a completely incompetent derpy clone. And the lesson has to be outright told to him. He ignores all the attempts Applejack makes towards letting him know that, no, I don't want your help. And it just, it makes me facepalm when I see it. Now, there is a good moral here. It's to respect other people's boundaries. But it's handled in such a way... I mean, the execution is just horrible, and it goes against so much continuity that it just leaves me cringing. Well, let's just hope that this never happens again, and look forward to a happy Season 4.
Our number 2 in the list comes from the Showstoppers. The CMC decide to enter a talent contest in hopes of figuring out what their special talents are. Obviously, the first choice is to try and perform a rock ballad of their new theme song. Due to a horrible division of labor, the song ends up failing. Completely. In fact, it failed so bad that they ended up winning in comedy. which encouraged the Cutie Mark Crusaders to take the lesson that their true calling was in comedy. So from this episode, we can learn that if your attempts at doing something completely fail, you can at least attempt to spin it as a comedy act. Now, unfortunately for the CMC, Equestria is not well suited for this lesson. After all, the show is a one-time event, never to be seen again. At best, it'll be talked about, but it's quite hard to get famous or having a talent in people talking about a one-time show. But, luckily for the CMC, this lesson can be redeemed. In another time, in another place, and by another place, I mean another universe. And specifically, the Equestria Girls universe. For you see, the CMC of the Equestria Girls verse lives in a world with YouTube, in which even the most epic of fails have a chance at becoming viral hits and bringing forth internet fame. So from this, we can learn yet another lesson. Want to show off your talent? Post it on YouTube. Even if you fail completely, at least you got a chance of being a YouTube star.
At number 1 is an episode which already kind of has an unfortunate reputation within the fandom, and that is Batbusters. And it is, if you hate something even for no reason, then it is evil and you are right in destroying it. Such as how Trixie loses all her possessions and she's defaced in front of everyone. And they didn't really have a good reason for hating her other than they just did. Yet the show still portrayed them as right anyway. In fact, this kind of moral extends to other episodes, such as Best Night Ever. At the Grand Galloping Gala, everything is boring and shit goes down when they all go crazy because it's not the best night ever. And yet Celestia comes in saying it was kind of a good thing that everything was destroyed. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I'd like to thank EverFree and Whammy for coming on. With that, this is the Oneromancer.
And this has been Whammy.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Have a nice day.